Hollywood maybe didn't used to make this kind of money. Now they are. But the same thing's happening with college football, NIL.
And the same
NFL,
thing happened with Buster
NBA.
Keaton, and the same thing happened with all those guys. The big stars that made the most money early went on to build beautiful, creative, artistic kingdoms.
Right.
Now, I believe the content they create and develop is the tail wagging the dog. What's going to make the most money, not what's going to touch the most people. That's my problem with Hollywood.
You think that's going to be okay? Are you a sports guy? You follow
really.
sports? Okay. But you know this guy named Michael Jordan, right?
Sure.
And he had a clause who in his contract, career earnings, do you know how much he made in the NBA, the 15 years he played?
Hundreds of millions.
You'd be surprised. Didn't even make $100 million in the NBA. Okay. So Michael Jordan career earnings, $94 million during his 16 years in the NBA. Okay.
Plus endorsements?
No, not endorsement. I'm just saying his career, right? Purely his career.
But the endorsements count.
Well, no, the endorsement with the deal he got with Nike, his first year with Nike, he sold 160 million pairs of the shoe, and the rest is history. But the reason why I'm making this point with him is he had a clause called the love of the game. He was never the highest paid guy in the NBA until his last season or two.
I love the name of that.
Yeah, the love of the game clause. Yeah. So in the love of the game clause that he had, can you type in Michael Jordan love of the game clause?
For your company, you should have a love of the movies clause.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I think where I'm going with this is just type in Michael Jordan love of the game clause. Michael Jordan love of the game clause. You put clause. Yeah. Go a little lower to see if there it is. On the first one right there, whatever that story is, click on that one. No, second one that says Gurchin, whatever. Keep going down right there. Yeah. A little happy. Michael Jordan had a love of the game clause. Can you zoom in a little bit so I can read it, Rob? There's a good tennis player. I would have so angry. So anyways, I don't know who's writing this, but the point of the love of the game clause was Michael at any point could play basketball anywhere and the Bulls couldn't stop him. He can go play street ball. A lot of teams nowadays don't want you to go play street ball at the gym, all this stuff. Michael had the love of the game clause. I can play anywhere, anytime, any place.
So in his contract with the Chicago Bulls, he could wake up at 9 a.m. one morning and go, I don't feel the love of the game anymore on this team. I'm leaving.
No, the love of the game was the fact that I don't have to tell you, Chicago Bulls, if I'm going to play basketball anywhere that's outside of the scope of the Bulls guidelines. I can play anywhere, anytime, any place with any stranger. You can't ever stop me because I love the game, right? So Michael was a love of the game guy. Not everybody in the NBA today is a love of the game.
There was a clause in his contract that let him go. If he twisted his ankle out on the street.
That's exactly what it is. There
was an injury clause. They were worried.
Because that's what teams don't like. You can't go hurt yourself on motorcycle. You can't do like when I raised $10 million of capital from an investor that came in, VC that came in, private equity that came in. One of the things was I couldn't go skydiving. I couldn't swim with sharks. I couldn't do.
I'm a skydiver.
Right. So no, literally, I couldn't do any of this stuff, right? So Michael is trying to say, no, I can do whatever I want to do. I mean, someone in Hollywood's going to come and say, look, man, I'm making this because I freaking love this game. And by the way, who would you say today in Hollywood, would you categorically put them in the area of, these guys love the game, whether they make 50 million, 10 million, or 100 million? Who would you put in the love of the game?
Denzel Washington.
I agree. Who else would you say?
In his own unique way, right now he's got a book coming out. Eric Roberts is a legendary movie star, right? He's doing his acting now in his own way for the love of the movies.
By the way, he's a great actor.
But he was great on One Bad Movie. We had a great conversation with him.
Who else? Who else would you say? Who else is a love of the game? Well, maybe let me ask. Would you say Tom Cruise is love of the game?
He's the best.
Okay. Would you put him love of the game?
I would say Tom Cruise is the only most successful action movie star who has balanced the creative with the finance. Meaning he's making great quality creative stuff people can relate to while factoring how
$200 million Top Gun, right? Would you put Scarlett Johansson love of the game?
No.
Would you put Leonardo DiCaprio love of the game?
You want my honest answer?
Yeah.
I think Leo loves the game, but he's just not a great actor.
You don't think Leo's a good actor?
No.
Steven, you don't think Leo's a good actor?
No.
Why not?
Because I think it takes a certain amount of depth, and I think it takes a certain amount of presence. And the greatest actors of all time were the people who, when you watched them, they affected you. The greats. I mean, the greats. See, this is dying. This is my passion now, Patrick. The business says Leo's great because he's given great performance. He's done some great films, but he's not a great actor of his generation. He's a great actor of his generation because of his success, Patrick. Not because he's Gary Oldman, right? Not because he's some guy who moved away from the finance and did Broadway for 10 years to learn the craft on a deeper level. He didn't do that.
So would you put your brother as a better actor than Leo?
I'll be nice, yes.
Wow. Okay, Pacino, love of the game?
He's the Jordan of the game. He's one of the Jordans of the game.
Who would you say are the Jordans of the game? Because I know
the classics. All the guys we grew up with: De Niro, Pacino, John Lithgow. Remember John Lithgow? The great movies. That's the last couple of decades, Patrick, of the greats. Now it's business.
He's ridiculous. He is a ridiculous
He's
actor.
one of the greatest living actors of all time.
Oh, my God. Underestimated. Anyways.
What was the movie he did? Garp, right? T.S. Garp?
Yeah.
What was that movie he did with The World According to Garp? That's that famous movie with, what's his name?
He's a legend. Who else would you put on that list?
All of the actors who were the guys.
Would you put Cruise on that list? Cruise is on that list as well, Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise is, in my book, across the board, the greatest movie star of all time.
And he's never won an Oscar.
And he, when a photographer falls down, he goes and helps him up. You know what I mean? Tom Cruise is a great... Now listen, I'm a born-again Christian. I have a very different philosophical, spiritual perception. But if Tom were... He's literally... I did Born on the 4th of July, right? So in the high school sequences, I had to wrestle Tom. In the movie, I'm wrestling Tom Cruise because they do the flashback sequences. That was the story of Ron Kovic. You ready for another good one, Patrick?
I want to hear it.
So Ron Kovic wrote a book called Born on the 4th of July. Tom Cruise optioned it to play him in the movie, a Vietnam vet who, came home and saw and had his experience. Ron Kovic had my father as a school teacher. My dad pushed Ron Kovic in his wheelchair at an event before Oliver Stone ever heard of Ron Kovic. Dead serious. So after Oliver heard, my dad was connected to, he put Daniel, Billy, and Stephen Baldwin in Born on the 4th of July. We were all three of us, and Alec wasn't available. Or otherwise, it would be the first time all four Baldwins were in one movie. Alec wasn't available.
Yeah, I saw that because one of them played the Marine Vietnam...
Billy.
Yeah. The other one was just a soldier, and then Daniel. Yeah. And then you played Billy Billy, what's the guy's last name? Billy something, right?
I forget. But the point is, it's just funny to have that backstory of a Hollywood connection where Oliver Stone, they were like, well, geez, let's put all the Baldwins in. That's kind of a cool, small, weird thing. Their dad, Ron had their dad. And, it's just interesting.
Can you pull up the picture with them on Born on 4th of July? You just pulled it up a minute ago, Rob.
There's me over his shoulder.
Wow.
That's me over Tom's shoulder. And then again, and the point of that is I worked on that film when I was a kid, before I was married, before I met my wife. Years later, I go to a movie premiere. Tom Cruise is there. I'm with my daughter, Elia. The nicest. Hey, Elia, gosh, let's take a picture. And he's a humble guy. He's a pretty... Now, you piss him off on a set, you maybe get a recording of him screaming at somebody, right? But these things happen.
Right. That's right.
Happens to the best of us.
Yes, that's right. You know who had the best one, though, that I saw? Christian Bale.
Oh, he was
Whether
good.
that was real or not, I don't know. But Christian...
he's a good actor, but that sounded pretty real.
That sounded pretty real, yeah.
But it just goes to... But now watch.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a butthole to make a point. When you're Christian Bale and you've developed a character and you're a serious thespian and someone interrupts you, you get upset. When you're so-and-so and you did Barbie and somebody screwed up, you go, hey, back to one, babe. Don't worry about it, kid. It's Barbie. Lighten up. It's not, it's not Shakespeare. That's what's happening. It's Barbie now, bro. It's not Shakespeare anymore. That's the movie business. So what I'm warning you about with your future business is have a clause that you got to love the movies.
Love of the game.
You got to love the movies.
Love of the game.
If you're coming at me with a deal because, I get to make 50 billion Barbies in Taiwan in the next 30 years.
Are you a fan of Margot Robbie or you're not a fan of her? Like, did you like
gorgeous.
Margot on Wolf of Wall Street?
She's talented.
Okay,
she's a great actress.
Yeah.
But I'm making an observation. No offense to anybody involved in that picture.
Yeah.
The director, Greta's brilliant. I'm just saying the message to young creatives now is make Barbie.
This is the USA gear, limited edition for the rest of the year. If you love America, sport this USA gear. On the side, it says Future Looks Bright. On the back, it says Valuetainment. On the side, it's got the American flag. We got the shirts. We got the flip-flops. These are the only flip-flops I wear when I'm at the house and walking the dogs. It feels amazing with the gel in it. So if you love America, if you believe the future looks bright, if you love Valuetainment, click on the link above or below. Go wear some of the gear and tag us because we share the pictures on the podcast all the time. So go to vtmerch.com and place your order.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.